Hello friends and welcome back for another Trinity Stamps video. Today I have a sneak peek for you. We are going to be playing with the Puppy Party stamps and dies, and so I've got them all stamped out for you. I have my coloring set at this point just to like my normal coloring mode so you can see exactly how slow I color, and there's a little bit of images on here, so this is going to take a minute to color, so eventually I will speed this up about 4 times, but here you can see that I would say I'm pretty average at coloring as far as like the speed here goes. So eventually we'll speed it up, but I am so excited about this set. I just think it's so darn cute, and imagine the cards that you can make with this one. And I had so much fun just picking out colors for each of our little pups. So here we go. We're speeding it up about 4 times. And I started off just using, well, actually I used a lot of neutral colors going into this because, most dogs are like blacks and browns and maybe some reds and some golden colors. And I seem to have stuck to mostly the whites and blacks and the browns, but I had so much fun. And I'll tell you what, in this move that we've been doing, a lot of you know that we have been moving, I kind of misplaced, I guess, it got put in a box somewhere, my color chart. And it wasn't until I started coloring this that I really knew that I needed and relied on my color chart. So my suggestion to you all is, if you don't have your mediums swatched out, I highly, highly, highly recommend that. And the reason for that is, you look at your caps or you look at your watercolors in their pans, and they do not look the way, like seeing them just like that, they don't look the same. So I, especially on the caps of my markers, I've noticed they really don't look the same. So I really heavily rely on my swatches for these. All right, so you've noticed a few that I did some just straight coloring and this one I'm doing some stippling, and I always find, especially with stippling, that it looks not very good until it does look good. And I typically like to go lightest to darkest. I have noticed that with my grays, making these dogs white and black, I tend to go dark to light. I don't know why, it's just how I grab the colors, but typically I'm a light to dark kind of person. And so, yeah, I had so much fun. But think about the other options that you could do when you're coloring these pups. You could do rainbows. You don't have to do traditional dog colors. And you'll notice that this dog image itself is one big image. So it is basically designed for slimline. And if you're unfamiliar with what slimline is, a slimline card typically measures, when it's closed, 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So this little grouping of dogs fits perfectly on the front of a slimline card. And my hope is that this one does so well that they come out with a cat one, because I'm all over that, as you all know. But I loved this. I loved this so much. I can think of so many different people to send this to that, yeah. And speaking of cats, you can see the little shadow of Miles, one of my boys, stopping in to see, like, what's up, Mom? Why are you coloring some pups? Anyway. But yeah, I can think of a lot of people to send this one to, and it's just so much fun. You could, even if you decided to go color them all the same colors, I think that would be fun as well. Just a lot of little options. And like I said, I rely so heavily on my color chart that I ended up stopping in the middle of coloring these I had to find it. So I eventually did find it, thankfully, and the amount of relief that I had found it was like, oh, because it does take a little bit of time to swatch things out. I think that's sometimes the reason why some people tend not to swatch, because they're like, I just want to play. And I get that, because I'm right there with you. But this is such a vital part, especially for me, I guess, is having things swatched out. All right, we moved on to our one single pup, and now we're going to color all the little hats, and I'm going to do 2 reds, 2 oranges, 2 yellows, 2 greens, and a blue, because obviously I'm going rainbow. But there are so many images and the matching dies and beyond, basically. I feel like this stamp and die set is just so good. There's so much to it, and even dies that cut out our sentiments, and I will use those later on. You'll see the results of those. So we'll finish up our cutting, and then I'm going to bring in my gel pen, because I did color over a few of the little pup's eyes, and then I'm going to bring that gel pen in and color in our stripes. I just thought it would be easier to do it this way, and also the dots, just easier to bring in a gel pen than it would be to try to avoid those dots. But yeah, So we finished that, and then I'm going to bring in that matching die for all those and cut all of that out and check it out. The detail on that just makes me so happy. And so now we can start attaching the little hats to the pups. And I like that they're not automatically on there because you don't have to make this a birthday card if you don't want to, or a party card, a potty card if you want to say it like that. See what I did there? You could just go ahead and leave these pups without hats. You could have it be just thinking of you, or, you know, bring in any of your other sentiment sets that you might have. These little dogs would be perfect for so many occasions. And I love it because it's also, you know, you've got your one single pup on the side and you've got your whole grouping of dogs. So you could do it from a group of people or just one little dog on there. You just have tons of options. And I love that when a stamp set has tons of options. All right, so now that those are all put together, what I wanted to do with this card was turn this into a full front shaker. So what you see here is I have a panel. My panel measures 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I stamped all over the background some rainbow confetti, and I have some packaging. So this is a great way to use up some of that packaging that you have so that you feel like you're just not wasting it, throwing it out. So I'm trimming this down to be 4 inches by 9.5 inches. So I wanted it to be about 1/4 of an inch big on each side. So that way it's like, yeah, 4.5 inches by 9.5 inches. And then I'm using some 1/8 inch score tape, and I'm going to put that all over the 4 sides, and then I'm going to peel off the release paper on 3 of those sides. Now I chose this particular tape because it is nice and strong. So peeling it off of 3 sides, and then I'm going to fold over those 3 sides, leaving the top open. Because in order to make this a shaker, you have to be able to put some bits in there, right? All right, so those 3 sides are adhered. I am going to bring in some scissors and trim off the excess on those corners because it just does get a little bulky. And then I have that opening there. So now I'm going to bring in some brand new embellishments from Trinity Stamps. These are so fun, and they come in all the different colors. I love it. So my first color is this red, which is called Cheery Cherry. I'm just going to pour some of those in. I thought I would try and spoon it in, but in the end, I thought it would just be easier to pour a few of those in there. The next color is Soda Pop. Then we're bringing in our yellow, which is Ripe Banana. And one of the things I really love about these is that it's sprinkles and some flat circles. So you have that variety in there, and then they do have some different colors, which is fun. Our green was called Green Apple, and our blue is Blueberry. And like I said, there are some other colors. I just chose to stick with these colors in particular. So now I'm going to peel off the release paper on that final edge. We'll fold our top over and then trim off the bulk just in the corner. And now we can adhere this to a card base. But check it out, all that fun sprinkly goodness in there. My card base originally measured 7 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 3.5 inches. And so now I'm going to take some 1/2 inch score tape, and you could use liquid glue, but I just really wanted this to adhere right away. And if you use liquid glue, obviously you have to wait for that to dry. So I put that down on the top and in the middle, and then I'll peel off that release paper on all 3 of those. It always makes me nervous to use a glue like this simply because once it's on there, it's on there. It's not coming off. And liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room, but with this one, I just find that I keep it flat on my surface and then just kind of stick them together as you see there. And that's adhered. So check that out. All right, our little pups are going to sit right on the top. But before we adhere them, we're going to take the inside. We're going to adhere the inside. So I'm going to take this little dog. I did stamp a sentiment in there. It's time to potty. And we're just going to glue our little pup on the inside. He's so cute. Or she. Super cute. But I'm just going to adhere that one down on the inside. And I am going to use liquid glue to adhere down my pups on the outside. You could use a foam tape if you wanted, or even another score tape. But I figured I didn't want to add too much bulk since this is already a shaker. It's flat, but it's still a shaker. And so if you add that foam tape, it's going to definitely add a lot more bulk. So you have to think about that when you are sending this in the mail. And then as you see, I have 2 other sentiments. Those ones are cut out using those matching dies. We wish you a yappy birthday. If that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what would. But yeah, there you have it, a totally finished slimline card using the brand new Puppy Party stamps and dies. Be sure to be paying attention to the Trinity Stamps blog and Facebook page and here on YouTube to see more sneaks and eventually see it all. This is a huge release and you do not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. Be sure to check out all that Trinity Stamps has going on over on their Facebook page, their blog, and Instagram. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon.